to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I'm your host, Stephen Pynakker, and guess who's in the house? It's my mom, Elizabeth Pynakker. Say hi to everybody.
Hi there.
So this is a really cool thing. Can you believe this? My mom makes it onto camera before Anthony does, but either way, that's just the way it goes. I don't read novels or fiction, right? I'm more of a history, nonfiction kind of guy. But I got this really interesting book in the mail. It's called Upon Destiny's Song. And it's written by Mike Ericksen and Sage Steadman. And I gave this book to Mom, and I asked her to take a look at it. And she really was taken by it.
Yep.
And which I find interesting. And see, this is the thing, folks. She wrote a review, but I'm going to hear it for the first time when we film, okay? And so I'm going to ask her some questions, and we're just going to talk about, first of all, you're a book reader. Like, you've spent your whole life reading books, right?
Since I could read.
Since you could read.
Books, yeah.
Yeah. And so you've probably read thousands and thousands of books.
Yeah.
Just like I've read probably hundreds, if not thousands of Mormon stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm very, very picky because I read a lot. I'm very picky about what I read because I'm 82 years old and there is so much to read and so little time. So I'm really picky about what I read. So why I decided I would read this book, this grabbed me right from the start. I know this is a modern young woman, but they captured the feel of the story perfectly. Even the wistful look on the young woman's face. So that grabbed me. Then when I'm looking at a book, I feel it. I look at the back to see who gave a review of it. That determines sometimes what I read. I wasn't familiar with most of these, but I read this. Now listen to this. The snow absorbed all around except the unrelenting howling of the wind, so strong that it haunted their ears with its cries. The wind was a demon telling them to give up, to surrender, and to die. But they ignored the wind's cries and pushed on. They moved, barely able to hear the creak of the wheels or the crunch of the snow. Not even the sound of their own labored breathing was audible. Doesn't that grab you? It's like I read that and I thought, oh. So I opened it up, and how often do you ever read the preface and it grabs you? I give a book maybe the first chapter. If I don't like the way they write or if it doesn't interest me, I don't bother. I read the preface and I came to this particular line. We have respectfully trod the Wyoming hills and valleys where only the ubiquitous wind still knows through the remnants of memory of that era. That too grabbed me. So that's why I decided to read the book.
Wow. All right. Now, so that's how my mom's process of learning, like, if she's going to read a book, and like I said, 82, gotta stick with the high quality stuff, right?
Yeah, right. It's a little, like I said, it's a little time, so many books.
So, it's so fascinating because I'm going to have you read the book review in a few minutes here, but I just thought, it's been quite a journey we've been on. We've been doing this for like a year and a half now. Yeah. And I say we because you kind of been along for this ride too, because so often, like 9 o'clock every night, I start watching my gospel tangents, my Mormon stories, and all my other stuff. And sometimes Mom would about ready to go to bed, and an interview would catch her, and she'd be very interested. Like, remember the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Mormon stories.
Steve watched that one with me.
Yeah. And so that kind of caught you. But it was interesting. I don't know if I would have watched the whole series, but I really got to know them and found them to be very fascinating people.
Yes.
And, that's some other thing, too, is what you and I have been learning is I'm in particular because I'm engaging them. And, of course, you've engaged some now, too.
Yes.
Some wonderful people, very nice people.
Wonderful people.
Yeah.
I must say, before you embarked on this journey with the YouTube, I knew almost nothing about Mormons or restoration, any of the church branches or anything. My first experience was reading Christopher Thomas's Pentecostal reads the Book of Mormon. That was my first introduction to Mormonism, really. And then I watched all the gospel tangents and John DeLynn and all the episodes that Stephen does. So I've gotten to know the people and grew to love the people that I watched. I feel like I know them personally.
Yeah.
And really enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
I'm impressed.
Well, and this is, we're going to talk with another person, because I actually, for the very first time last night, talked with Mike Ericksen.
Okay.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about Mike, because, I spent about a little over an hour talking to him yesterday, and just a really neat guy. And this is so cool, because he actually has a band that competes in Christian music competitions. And he told me about his interactions with evangelicals and Christians and how he's learned about, and he even said, I had to repent of some things because of thoughts I had about evangelicals. And he even said, when I started watching your channel, I really thought you had an agenda. And as I watched and watched and watched, I realized you didn't. That you really genuinely want to have these conversations. So that really meant a lot to me, that this guy's basically watched every single interview.
Wonderful.
And so you got to know.
I got to know him through the book.
Yeah, talk about that.
In my review, I don't cover a whole lot of his story. It's a unique, interesting story. You really have to get the book and read it for yourself, especially how he was nudged along to look for his ancestors and to write about them. He's covered them in books and songs. I think a lot of you people know him that would be watching this program because he plays in a band. He does have
called the Cedar Breaks Band.
Yes,
yep.
yes. The music is beautiful. It's very peaceful, and I love the music. Highly recommend that. He's honored his ancestors in song as well as in the book.
And of course, you listen to the CD all the time in your car. It's music inspired by the book.
By the book. It came with the book, and yes, I listened to that a lot. So grew to like him and love him.
Well,
so we're in with him.
I haven't heard the book review yet. So this is the book review my mom's going to read for the very first time. Just so you know, folks, this is a official Mormon Book Review's book review. And did you give it any stars by chance?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
I
don't know.
I'll let you know when I'm done.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. This book is based on a real-life historical journey, a tremendous testament of people possessing and overcoming faith in God, sacrificial and unconditional love for family and one another. There are two separate timelines in the book, 1850s and our narrator Mike in the present. The authors have done an excellent job of interweaving the two, showing how the past and present are all interconnected. Ollie and Marie Madsen leave Denmark, embarking on a journey to the glorious land of Zion, the land of promise and freedom in America, leaving friends, family, and everything familiar behind, crossing the ocean and ordeal in itself, and then walking 1,300 miles with the ill-fated Willie Handcart Company. Parts of this book were very hard to read. The impossible hardships and seemingly insurmountable odds were heartbreaking, but a testament to their faith, perseverance, and courage. I mentioned two stories in one. Mike's quest to learn about his great-grandmother led him to uncover life stories that needed to be brought to life. His people traveled with others, experiencing scorching sun, insects, thirst, and heat in the summer, and then winter set in along with hunger, starvation, disease, freezing, blinding blizzards, and crossing winter's flowing streams on foot, some burying loved ones in unmarked graves along the lonely trail. Always the promise of Zion spurred them on, one step at a time. Life was still hard when they did get to Zion. The survivors were thankful to have one another and set about living and making a better life for the next generations and all the following descendants, who are reaping the benefits and blessings because of their ancestors fought the good fight with faith, determination, and love. They truly were heroes. The price they paid was overwhelming. Mike's journey was very interesting as well, realizing his connection to his ancestors and that daily decisions we make impact future generations. He gained insight and strength for living. May we all strive to leave a godly legacy. I believe the authors did a wonderful job of bringing people to life, putting flesh and blood on them, recapturing stories of the past, and bringing them alive. There was excellent development of individuals, including Mike. They painted pictures with words that will stay with me for a long time to come. This is a must-read, and I give it 5 stars.
So 5 out of 5 stars. Well,
Yes.
You heard it here first, folks. My evangelical mom loves a Mormon book. It's pretty wild.
I really do. Their faith astounded me. They really did have a trust that was overwhelming.
I always tell people that you can say what you want, but they did make the desert bloom.
Yes, I did.
And that says something too. So I just want to thank you so much, Mom, for coming on. And I know you were nervous about it, but I thought you did really good. What'd you think?
Oh, well, maybe give me a 2-star.
So either way, folks, I just want to thank you so much for this very special book review here on Mormon Book Reviews. And I just want to remind my audience to don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell when a new episode comes out. Also, don't forget we are available on all the major podcast formats. We're in the process of getting caught up on that as well. And if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget you can support us on PayPal, Patreon, as well as merch from MormonBookReviews.com. You all have yourself a great day, and all the voices of the restoration will be heard on Mormon Book Reviews.